What's up, everybody? Welcome back into a very special edition of the Nick and Nick podcast, live from downtown Omaha, 1,000 feet away from home plate here at Charles Schwab Field. I'm joined by four not Nicks. So this is the Nick and Nick show, starring no Nicks today, so very special edition. We do have two of Nick's sons over at Mason, starting on the far end, followed by Cooper and Brandon just to my right. Yeah, Cheeto Coop, as most know him. But today we are here to talk a little bit about Omaha and the College World Series and what it means to this city, what it means to us, and of course a little bit of ball here towards the end. We want to remind you that the show is sponsored by Royalty Roofing, your home for all of your home renovation and commercial needs. Check them out today at royaltyroofing.com. They have been changing the game in remodeling through transparent service and execution since 2010. So shout out Royalty Roofing. Give them a look today. Gentlemen, we are here live at the College World Series. 8 new teams this season for the first time in like 60 years. What a fun story that is. But let's first introduce yourself to the people. Tell them what Omaha means to you as an Omaha native.
I can go first. Brandon McClintock from Omaha. My dad is Dennis McClintock. He kind of houses the tent, the CWS tent down here that we all like to come to. It's a good time. He's been doing it for 38 years now. So
38 years. Over 70, by the way. That's over half the amount of times it's been in Omaha. Go ahead, Coop.
My name's Cheeto Coop Prasowski. My dad actually hosts this podcast, and he's not here, but he did a good job setting it up. I was actually helping set up this tent here today. BMAC's father runs it. I was in line at 4 a.m. to set this up. So good tradition we got going here. Like BMAC said, DMAC's been doing it for 38 years. So, yeah, we're happy to be here, and it's pretty exciting. So, yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mason Prasowski here. I'm also a son of Nick, a.k.a. Doc. Want to give him a shout-out for setting this all up, and also want to give Dennis McClintock, again, BMAC's dad, a shout-out as well. I mean, you guys can't see this behind you, behind the screen here, but we've got 3 tents set up. We've got food galore. There's probably 50 people sitting here watching us.
200-plus beers.
Yeah, 200-plus beers. I don't know if we can say that or not, but I don't make the rules. But, yeah, just want to say thank you for everybody for helping set this up, and shout out Cheeto Coop. Cheeto or Tito?
Yeah, can we talk about a little bit about the dedication of DMAC's tent here?
Yeah.
These guys were here at 4 a.m. setting up not only mulch, but they're doing sod on the side.
38 years in a row. 38 years in a row.
This is one of the first years that they've really gone above and beyond and done that. But the mulch, I mean, you guys can't see it, but they got mulch on the side that there's 2 inches of concrete that he's filling in. There's sod that we can put everything.
Yeah, nobody else is doing that.
He's just outworking them.
Yep.
You know?
He did lay topsoil, a couple pieces of sod. That's called the DMAC difference.
That's a
what we
DMAC
call that
special
down here
one, I'd say.
in Omaha. But let's talk a little bit about baseball first, gentlemen. We are all former collegiate baseball players, which is why we got the bid on the Nick and Nick show today. Let's start at the end. Mason's journey started at Southeast Community College over to the University of Louisiana Monroe, wrapped up with the University of Nebraska Omaha, the Mavericks, right down the road. Coop started at Southeast Community College, followed his brother's footsteps, maybe his shadow, some would say, then followed up at UNO as well, University of Nebraska Omaha. And B and I, the much lower level, a little bit of grit with him, has played in the NAIA at Morningside College, better known as Morningside University now. Gentlemen, let's talk a little bit college baseball experience. Murph, you had the opportunity to play at Alex Box Stadium, which is actually home of the LSU Tigers. We're playing this Saturday night, tonight, against the Razorbacks of Arkansas.
Yep.
Talk about playing in Alex Box, what that was like, and playing against guys of that caliber.
Well, I'm going to start off and say I didn't start that game. So just
We watched.
I'm going to try to make myself not seem cool at all right now. I didn't start that game, but when I tell you those fans are the best fans in the country, it was sold out. There were people standing in the street behind the stadium watching it on a big screen for a random. I mean, I played at the University of Louisiana Monroe, which is a smaller Division I.
Great brand. Shout out Warhawk.
It's not an SEC school, I'll say that, but this place was just absolutely jumping. There was not an empty seat in the house. And fans, I didn't start the game like I said, but fans were just absolutely ruthless. They were all over me. I was in the dugout, and they were chirping me for my haircut.
And it was probably a Tuesday.
I got a fresh haircut, and they were chirping me for my haircut.
What was wrong with it?
I thought it was a fresh fade, honestly. It
Sports
was.
Flip final didn't get you well.
Make you second guess yourself.
I know, but it was just a great atmosphere. Best fans in the country. But yeah, we ended up losing that game. Antoine Duplantis, I don't know. I'm sure the LSU faithful know Antoine Duplantis, the hit king at LSU, hit a go-ahead grand slam, and that was the end of our lead that we had in that game. But
You guys were
unbelievable
winning in that game.
Yeah, unbelievable experience. I think we were up like 6-4, and then Antoine hit a what do you call it? A
A dong.
Yagadiju.
Yagadunka.
Yagadiju.
Shout out Dito.
There's a
So,
lot of descriptive word for home runs. And speaking of home runs, I know Cheeto didn't give up any in his opportunity against a Division I power university like the
Almost.
University of Arkansas.
Almost.
But quickly to mention, Omaha fans love when LSU gets the bid to come here because of the crowd they bring, the events they put on. I know in the past they've rented out Morrison Stadium over at Creighton University, done a gigantic crawfish boil out there. So just a great fan base. We love those people, so we always hope they make it back. And on the other side, one of the better fan bases, maybe an argument there, Arkansas over at Baumwalker Stadium. Cooper got to play against them in his time at University of Nebraska Omaha. Coop, talk about that fan base and that experience. I know you did get 3 outs. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, call it lucky or whatever, but I think the score might have dictated that a little bit. I think it was like 15-3 when I got in. So, but a 0's a 0. The first time I went there, I didn't actually pitch, but I just got to like kind of soak up the crowd. And I mean, similar to LSU, it's just absolutely bonkers. And like we're playing them on a random Tuesday night, and it's sold out. You're sitting in the bullpen warming up and just getting chirped by everybody. But it's obviously a great atmosphere. Weren't really looking to win the game, obviously, but you're really just there to just sit there and enjoy the vibes. Honestly.
I'm there to compete and have fun.
Yeah, I
Have
mean,
a good time.
yeah. It was awesome though. The second time I went there, that would have been I think last year, right?
This is in regionals, right?
No.
They were both pre-regular season games.
Oh yeah, regular season
Okay.
midweek games on a
So
Tuesday night.
the fans are still doing that in the middle of the
Yeah,
regular
it's
season.
a random Tuesday night, and they're packing out Baumwalker. And then I got to pitch. I think it was like the 5th inning or something. Nervous as heck. It's 13-2, I think, or something. But yeah, it was awesome. I just remember one of the highlights was, I mean, you're warming up in the pen and you're just getting chirped, and the game's out of hand. It's just crazy. And I think one of the fans like kept chirping about getting a ball. Like he really wanted a Summit League baseball for some reason, which
Legendary.
Maybe he's a collector.
Summit League baseball is obviously not top of the game right now, but
Not commodity.
yeah. But he like Venmo'd one of us for a Summit League baseball. It's kind of cool.
What was the amount?
I think like $15. He was like, "I'll give
For
you
a baseball?
Yeah.
Should have given him a box.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're just super, super crazy, super cool fans. I mean, the atmosphere, I would say, I guess, is similar to the CWS. Is all we really can compare it to. I mean, that's all we really know. We've been coming here for a while now, but that's
We
the
are
closest
smack
thing.
dab in the middle of Tailgate Row right now, and the walk up here today was about Arkansas tent after Arkansas tent, just fully loaded. Actually, not a lot of purple and gold out here, shockingly. But the game tonight, I know tickets are going for about $700 right now, live on Ticketmaster. We obviously will not be going into the game as we're talking to you right before the game starts. However, it's going to be a hell of a matchup.
Can't afford it either.
Yeah, with some of the best pitchers in the country as well as hitters. So make sure you check that out. The CWS, we do not have the experience like Coop and Mason do.
Absolutely
Brandon
not.
and
Yeah, I want to emphasize something. NAIA ball, a little bit different. We didn't get to play Arkansas. We didn't get to play LSU, but
We would
you
have
said
won.
you got that grit. We got that grit in
Yeah.
the NAIA baseball.
Yeah, they will never experience the 5 a.m. in the middle of like the basketball gym warm-ups. Like that is just something that you can't take away.
That's JUCO vibes.
Taking ground balls on the gym floor.
On the gym floor.
Let's switch it. Let's
chest.
stay on brand of the Nick and Nick show. So people who have watched the show before, if you haven't, hit the like button on this video, hit the subscribe button if you have not subscribed to the channel. It's about life principles and different life experiences. Nope, nothing brings life experiences rather than the game of baseball, dealing with adversity. So talk about just your time in the game of baseball, B. I'll start with you, and what you learned through playing this game about life that prepared you for life.
I'll say first and foremost, it's a kind of a failure sport. I mean,
Oh,
to
it
be
is.
really good, to go to the Hall of Fame, you fail 70% of the time. I don't know if there's another sport that's like that. Like basketball, you can go miss a few shots, come back down the floor, and then you just bang a few more out. Like
If
it's
you
not,
shoot 30% in the NBA, you're not a good player.
Yeah,
You hit
that's what I'm saying.
300 in the
You hit
MLB,
300,
you're one of the best.
You're one of those guys. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, and a lot of people don't like that. Some people, that's why baseball is hard. People don't like to fail, but it's a good life lesson, I think, that you can learn from baseball. So that's probably my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to put it, because if you think about the game and the majority of Hall of Famers in baseball, and even College Baseball Hall of Fame, they're hitting 300, maybe 400 if they're unbelievable. That's 60% or 70% time they're failing at what they're supposed to do. So it is the game of failure. Coop, what would you say you learned from baseball that prepared you for life? It's getting a little deep here on the Nick.
Yeah,
Nick
I mean, yeah, could get a little emotional here, but like, I mean, like B said, it's a lot about adversity. Like when I was at junior college, I think I got hurt twice, so like, you know, it's just part of it, especially as a pitcher. You know, injuries happen, but you get hurt and you start questioning yourself. I've had, you know, other teammates, you know, you get your scholarship pulled, whole bunch of different scenarios that can happen. Injuries, obviously, you're playing a sport that's, you know, you're failing a lot, super up and down. So I think baseball teaches you to, you know, no matter how good or how bad you're doing, you just got to stay level-headed, keep going, and almost don't expect failure, but expect adversity. I mean, it's almost inevitable.
It's
so.
a physical sport, but it's very mentally
Yeah.
draining
Yep.
because of the way that you're isolated. It's a team sport, but then you're isolated. You strike out,
Yep.
that's you.
Yep.
There's nobody else in the box. All right, Mason, what about you? What did you learn about life through the game of baseball and your 3 stops along your collegiate baseball path?
I mean, Tito kind of touched on it, but you got to be humble. I mean, it humbles you so quick. I mean, hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in sports.
Can we all agree on that?
Yes, absolutely.
I would say yes.
Maybe
If you
striking
just-
a golf ball, but
As a pitcher, we should do that too. Hitter, pitcher, hitter, pitcher.
Yeah.
two-way.
And
for a
I'm
little
telling
bit.
you, hitting a baseball is hard enough that I stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, if you disagree, leave a comment. I mean, I'd love to hear your case because
Yeah. Might need a poll.
it's just not possible. Hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do. And like they were saying, it's if you succeed 3 out of 10 times, you're very, very, very good. And it's just so humbling because it's like,
Just when you think
what are you
got it
doing?
figured out.
yeah, just when you think you got it figured out. I mean, it's like
You always
swing
hear,
and miss.
you
Yeah.
always hear the sayings of like baseball players and the memory you have to have. It's like a goldfish. You have to forget 10 seconds after. Shout out Adam Sandler and all his films. He has 10-second time.
Shout out Adam.
You forget your name, and then all of a sudden, 10 seconds later, you're going to ask the same question.
How do
That's
you
kind of the
think of
similar
that?
memory you have in baseball. But it's a fun sport. Let's go into the teams that are in Omaha this year. Obviously, we just watched Murray State fall to UCLA 6-4 in Game 1 of Saturday of the CWS. What do you guys think of the teams here? Any fun brands? Who are you polling for? Not who you think is going to win, because we'll save that for the end. But any team you're like, man, I wouldn't mind seeing them make a run at it, B.
Yeah, I'll go first. Not the team that I necessarily think is the favorite, but the team that I kind of want to win would be Coastal Carolina. I think they got a full staff pitching-wise. I think they're kind of a complete team. You saw that on stage yesterday at the game, so I'll go with Coastal for my favorite pick.
I would say Coastal too. I mean, usually Coastal's like not ranked in the top 25, right? Or like this year they are, but
It's a
they're.
very consistent baseball school, but it's been
Yeah.
a while since they've been at this level.
Yeah, I just remember when they won it that one year, they were super underdogish. So I mean, I'd say us three like to root for them pretty heavily. I'd also like to see UCLA. I mean, UCLA is UCLA, but I feel like they're never here. I don't know. That'd be cool. And then Arizona.
2013 was the last time UCLA was here.
Really?
Merv, who are you pulling
They
for?
win it.
No, they did not.
I'm pulling for the chance.
So 3 Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, I'm pulling for the chance.
Something about them, just like their colors are
Yeah,
sick.
they got that pizzazz, baby.
Yeah, they do. They got that swag
But,
surf.
but they are not an underdog.
No,
Yeah, they're definitely not an
I
underdog.
mean, how many games have they won in a
24.
row? 24 games in a row. I don't think you can
crazy.
say they're an underdog, but
No, but they just got that thing about them where it's just like, you know, when they score runs and then they get a shutdown inning. I mean, they've got the best statistically. They got the best pitching staff in the country, right? I mean,
round, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
all
LSU's tough. But
LSU
rake.
stuff, but like from your Friday night guy all the way to your worst closer, I think Coastal Carolina's probably got the best staff
Yeah.
They're deep.
in the country.
And that's
They're
what we were
very
talking
deep.
about, right? You got to be able to pitch here because hitting is kind of few and far between in Omaha for people that don't know.
It's a
What have we
different game.
seen? 1 homer in 3 games this far?
I don't know.
It has
It
been.
might be like 2.
Yeah, at
Yeah, 2.
most. I mean, the ball doesn't fly here. It's hot. It's humid. I believe it's 90 degrees right now with, it feels like Louisiana level humidity just in time for LSU to hit the field. I think Arkansas is a team I'd pull for this year. I hate to say it because I know there's a lot of SEC homers and a lot of SEC haters out there. But if you look at Dave Van Horn, he's just earned the opportunity to be a national champion. He loves the city of Omaha. They have Cam Kozel, former Omaha native. He went to Millard South High School just right down the road. If they get it, and he was also former Nebraska baseball coach. He took Nebraska to the College World Series back in 2005. So to see him get one in Omaha would be an awesome thing as a college baseball player and fan. Let's talk the teams individually on their regionals and how they got to Omaha. Who do you think, from what you can remember, I know it feels like months ago now, who do you think had the hardest path to get here? Because there's different stories around. Obviously, Coastal hasn't lost in feels like 3 months, but who do you think had the hardest path to get here? And it probably wouldn't be the SEC here.
I'll start. I think Arkansas playing an SEC and then another SEC.
Yeah.
They played Tennessee.
You got
in
the defending
Supers.
national champions.
I mean, to go
Dominated
through
them, too.
To go through a gauntlet of the SEC every week, and then also in a Supers have to play Tennessee, and then now coming to the play LSU in the first round. I mean, that's a tough slate, but I think they're the team to beat. Personally, Arkansas. I'm rooting for Coastal Carolina, but I think Arkansas is the team to beat.
Big one tonight. Coop, who do you think had the hardest path to get here?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of cliche, but I mean, Murray State, nobody expected that.
Fair answer.
I just like with them. I think they played Ole Miss right in the Supers or whatever.
Correct. In the general regional.
Oh, okay.
And then Duke in the Supers.
Oh, and then Duke. It's
Yes.
like I just like from experience when you're facing these powerhouse teams, it's super. I mean, you try not to show it, but it's super intimidating when you play these people at their stadiums, and to go in there and beat them is, I mean, that's pretty sick, honestly. I remember watching them against Ole Miss, just thinking like at some point they're going to implode, and they were able to hold on and get through it, which is pretty sick. So I mean, you got to root for an underdog like that a little bit.
And
Obviously,
they lost game one.
Yeah, obviously
So
they lost game one, so it's a tough
to win
road
two
back.
in a row is.
Yeah,
And
so it'll be tough.
they did go into that Ole Miss game, and they banged out 17 hits in the Grove, which is
raking.
not easy to do against any opponent in the country on the road. So 17 hits. The team is fun to watch. They have the full support of Omaha behind them here. But, Murph, who do you think had the hardest path to get to this spot?
I mean, I gotta say Murray State. I mean, there's nobody else. There's just nobody else. I mean, the SEC wasn't as good this year, clearly, as they've only got 2 teams here in Omaha, which
It is the most out of any conference, but yes.
Yeah, but yeah, I gotta say Murray State. I mean, what's your take, Parksy?
It's a very fair answer, but the more I thought about it and looked back to super regionals especially, you got to look at what Arizona did, because they went on the road to North Carolina, who really rolled through their regional. Nebraska was a part of that one, and then a good Oklahoma team who had arms. And then they go and play this Arizona team out of the Big 12, one of the new faces in the mix. In the Big 12, this isn't football, people. Like, that's a good baseball conference. All of a sudden, here comes Arizona. They get beat 18-4 in game one. And we talked about adversity last segment. You want to talk about beating adversity is to win back-to-back games to get here. So, obviously, they fell game one to Coastal, but it's a team that has handled adversity in the past, excluding 2 weeks ago. So, we will probably see them once again.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I thought
Great
UNC.
take.
I thought UNC was like gonna win. Like they obviously thought they were gonna get here, but I thought they were dang good, and to see them beat them.
A lot of baseball brands here in Omaha, and it's a very fun event to be a part of. And we have just a million people in front of us that we're dealing with, talking and watching, looking that we're more important than we are. Let's move on to the next talk. After we get some drink refills over here for the boys who are obviously thirsty in the 90-degree heat.
Hot out here. It's hot.
Is that a Lower Marion? Look at that. Let's get that on camera. Lower Marion?
Let's get Dirt McGirt in the picture.
Shout out Filthy
Is that Filthy McNasty?
Give him a little
This is a
intro.
McClintock.
For anybody who doesn't know, this is my brother, Matthew, a.k.a. Dirt McGirt.
What jersey is that?
This is a high
Kobe.
school jersey.
Kobe?
Jersey.
Yeah.
Alcohol's involved.
Brian.
Brian, yeah.
All right. Should we have a moment of silence for Kobe? I mean, Kobe Bryant.
Shout out Kobe.
Shout out
moment
Kobe.
moment for silence for Kobe.
Yes.
That's good.
All right,
Shout out
thanks.
Kobe.
Let's go back to baseball here. Stay on topic here at the Nick and Nick Show. Again, sponsored by Royalty Roofing. Want to give a quick shout out to Royalty Roofing for putting this on. Obviously, all this great equipment, great tailgate, great setup. They are doing a giveaway, so check that out. Keep a lookout for that on socials for the awesome chance at a Yeti cooler. Make sure you're subscribed. Follow it on Facebook. Royalty Roofing is the home for all of your commercial and residential renovation needs and roofing needs. They've been changing the game with their expertise and service and transparency since 2010. So give them a look today. Call them at the number behind us. Shout out Royalty Roofing. We really, truly appreciate them for giving us this opportunity. All right, we're coming towards the end. We've been yapping about baseball for about 20 minutes now. Let's talk who's going to win the College World Series. We talked who's had the hardest path, who you're pulling for, but who do you truly think has the pieces to put it together and take home the national title here in Omaha this year, 2025? B.
That's a great question. I think my personal pick, the team to beat, would be Arkansas. I think whoever wins that LSU-Arkansas game first will have a good chance of moving on. Now, Oregon State, that team is hard to beat when they get to Omaha. I think that's another team to look out for, but my pick, I'm going Arkansas.
I love it.
I'd say the same thing. You think about what year was that when they dropped the fly ball or whatever in foul territory?
2018.
Yeah, you got to catch
2018.
fly balls to win games.
Catch fly balls. So I think if they can catch fly balls and look them in, I think they got a good shot. Obviously, they're the favorite, but
Are you a ball guy or are you a I got it guy?
I I think
You
I
were
would
a pitcher.
either
You
me-
didn't call
Yeah,
the
you
ball.
you can't even answer that.
Trick question.
Hey, I was a two-way.
I got it.
I got it.
I thought it was me, or you.
That
No,
can't
no,
happen.
You know,
That's
whenever
why
I-
you didn't get taught that.
I assume if you're yelling, you're calling for the ball. So don't say you.
You is
yes.
the
That's a
worst
fair
case
point.
scenario, I think.
I mean, everybody's got different coaches that are probably good and bad. So
So 2 picks of Arkansas off the board. Merp, who do you got winning the College World Series?
I'm going Coastal Carolina.
Hey.
They are batting 1,000
Ooh.
when coming to the College World Series.
If they win
never
it,
lost
how
last
many
time
games
either?
would that be in a row? I mean, we're talking probably 30 wins in a row if they make a full run to it.
Yeah.
If
That's-
they make a full run to it, yeah, that's got to be a record, right?
I got to go back and shamelessly plug the NAIA. I was about to say I don't think there's a team that's ever done that to win the national title, but LSU Shreveport down in the NAIA, they're actually in Omaha supporting the LSU Tigers, went 56-0 this year and won the national
Sick.
title. So
Shout
shout out
out.
NAIA ball and shout out LSU
That's
Shreveport.
when you say move them up.
Yeah, I got Arkansas too. Going back to my pick quickly, Dave Van Horn, I hope he gets one in Omaha, but I also think he does. The depth, the pitching depth is there. I don't think there's any other staff here in Omaha that can match their depth, and obviously the bats are there and some of the best players in the country, and just well coached. So I'm excited to see hopefully the Hogs raise the national title trophy.
I don't think Cam Kojo is going to let him lose.
Yeah, that's fair. He's very
stud.
excited to be back. They went and practiced back at Millard South yesterday at his high school, and it was a big media story here in Omaha. So I think he's here to stay, and he did call sleepover at the Kozel. So I don't know if the Hogs slept in the Hilton last night or back at the Kozel household. So shout out Cam Kozel. But I do think the Arkansas Hogs will win it this year. All right, to finalize things up tonight, I want to talk. We talked about all the College World Series topics from now, but let's go to the $1 million question everybody asks as people who go to the College World Series every year: Rosenblatt or the Chuck? Charles Schwab Field. If you could go back, obviously you have the nostalgia there from kids. Cooper's a little bit younger than us, so I don't know if he has the memories at
Yeah,
Rosenblatt.
I just remember being a child and sitting there just
How old were you when it closed?
I wanna say,
2010?
yeah, something like that. But I just remember the nostalgia, and when you look back on the video, what?
I said 2010 was the year it closed. How old were you? And you said something like that.
I thought you said 10. I might have been 10.
Okay.
I don't know. But, I mean, you look back on the videos, and the nostalgia of Rosenblatt was pretty cool. I don't know. Obviously this is awesome, too.
B, I think I know your answer, but tell the people.
My answer? So they're both different. Rosenblatt, special place in our heart. That's when my dad started his tradition. But, I mean, the way that college baseball was played back then versus now is a lot different. This is more corporate, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Back then, it was
That's
just
great.
That's a great comment.
I agree.
homer after homer. You could
Yeah.
be down by 17, bang, grand slam, and you're back in the game. So
Well, I look back at 2009 in Rosenblatt. It was one of the final College World Series championships there. LSU, Texas in 09.
Oh, yeah.
Hell of a battle. Both starters on both teams were throwing 87.
Hey, nothing wrong with
And
87,
if you're not a
though.
baseball fan, completely understand that you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but they're throwing 95 to 97 now. I mean, the game has changed along with the venue. So, Merp, what is your take? You're a Rosenblatt or the Chuck?
I'm going the Chuck.
Really?
You have to be a good hitter to play at the Chuck.
And just hit bombs.
You can't just hit nukes with a Beezer bat anymore. You have to be
That's
a
what
good.
you did. Beezer bats were legal when you played.
You have to be a good hitter, and that's what I like seeing that here.
you also have to be a more complete team. You got to pitch well. Maybe you got to bunt because you're not going to hit bombs all the time. So maybe
Exactly.
you got to
I think
bunt.
we should hit on the bunting situation. I feel like it's been a hot, with people getting 2 on, no out, not bunting.
Well, this is a bunting family. Everybody's got different baseball perspectives, which
yeah.
is a very
I mean,
fun
we were
part
just
of the
talking about it
sport.
right before this, and you said no.
If it's Aaron Judge, are you bunting?
I mean,
But
obviously
you
not.
have to
but
break it down. If you're going to talk about this, you got to break it down. Act like somebody who's listening has never seen the game of
Yeah.
baseball.
So I would say an example that comes to the top of my head is Auburn playing. Who was it? Was it Coastal? So it was extra innings, and Auburn is playing at home. They got the crowd behind them. They get 2 on, nobody out. Don't bunt them over. I think they flew out and then got doubled off, and then the next inning, Coastal hit a bomb, and that was it. So, I mean, I always thought if you get 2 on, nobody out, you are bunting him over 99% of the time, unless you have your best hitter up or your second best hitter up. Then maybe let him.
Goes
let him
back
swing
to
it.
the percentages.
I-
You want to let them swing? Well, look at the percentages. 70% of the time, maybe even more, 80. They're probably not going to do anything special.
I
So-
agree, but Parksy had a different opinion when we were talking about it earlier, right?
Well, the one we were talking about earlier is they were down 4 runs with 2 runners on and
Yeah.
1 out,
It just-
and it was in the 7th inning. At that point, in my idea, in the game of baseball, you're chasing outs. You want to get to 27 outs. They have 9 left. You can't gift any outs at that point. I'm not giving you down to 8 or 7 by giving you a bunt just to throw to first base. So it does vary. I mean, that's another great part about the game of baseball is the different perspectives and the different coaching tactics you use. It also varies on who's up. Talk about playing the percentages. If my 4-hole hitter's up who hasn't gotten out in 2 weeks,
For sure.
I'm not bunting.
For sure.
So it literally, it's situation by situation. But Merp is a big bunt guy.
Yeah, I'm a big bunt guy in that situation. The one that you were talking about, Parksy, because as a hitter, I like hitting with runners in the scoring position, no matter what inning. I mean, typically in that situation, you don't want to bunt before the 5th inning. Something like that doesn't make sense. But when they're chasing outs, yes, like you said, but you're also chasing runs. Like,
I always think about
bunt,
like
you have 2 opportunities to score 2 runs.
Yeah.
Or if you
Right?
sack fly him in, you don't need to get a hit to get a run.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes
There is 13 different ways to score from third base with 1 out or less.
very true.
Yeah, that's
So-
true. I don't know. That's my take. I mean, I'm a big bunt guy in that situation, but
I feel like people have a tough time getting bunts down
I
these
think
days.
it's the
though.
form. I think it's the form that they're teaching.
Why don't
We
you
have
educate
to,
the people
We
then,
don't have
B?
to go into that, but I think the flat bat method that they're using, what happens when you do this? Ball goes straight up in the air.
Straight up.
All right, that finalizes that. Our short answers of how we got onto bunting of the Chuck versus Rosenblatt. You said Rosenblatt. I was Team Rosenblatt, just the memories that we had there. Cheeto, you don't know? You don't have an answer because you were too young?
No comment.
I mean, I would say the Chuck just because.
Really? So 2-2. The 50-50 split between Charles Schwab Field and Rosenblatt. Of
I was
College
too
World
young,
Series
but-
fans. And just because you're young. I think Rosenblatt was just more of a college baseball atmosphere. But when you get teams like Arkansas and LSU, man, their fans make it feel a lot closer to Rosenblatt. So shout out to them. Shout out to you for listening to today's show. It was fun. Thanks for having us. It's the first time we've been shown on camera on this show. Shout out to Royalty Roofing for the awesome partnership and sponsorship. Check them out today. Call them at the number listed behind us for all of your commercial and residential renovations. They very transparent, very good people at the company that you can trust. So check them out. Shout out to Royalty Roofing one last time. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us.
Been a
Bert,
pleasure.
you want to take us away? What kind of sign-off do we have on the Nick and Nick show?
Yeah, hey, if you want to see more of this crew, leave a comment because they're kind of keeping us in the closet.
Yeah.
So if you want to see more of this crew,
Yeah,
if we
let us know.
Or if
this
we
was
suck, let us
entertaining.
know, you know? I mean, we can just buzz off and never do this again. But
Yeah, the closing thoughts on who do we pick? I had Arkansas. You had Arkansas.
Arkansas.
You had Arkansas, and you were a Coastal guy.
Coastal
A repeat of
Carolina.
2016. So there's our final picks. We appreciate you joining us. We'll see you next time.
do we have
Smash-
Doc slide in here or anything? Or are we good?
Yeah, he'll be on the show tomorrow, so check out the
Father's
channel.
Day edition.
Yeah,
Hit the
it's true.
subscribe button, hit the like button, enter the giveaway you'll find on socials here shortly, and tune in tomorrow for the special Father's Day edition of the Nick and Nick Show. Shout out Royalty Roofing. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.
Let's go.
God bless.
Bring the boom.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Nick and Nick podcast. This podcast is powered by Royalty Roofing and Renovations. Crown your home and your commercial property, boys, with Royalty. Hey, thanks for joining us on the Nick and Nick podcast today. Looking forward to introducing our special guest with us that we have on the 75th anniversary of the College World Series. First to my right, none other than my brother-in-law, Dennis McClintock, a.k.a. D-Mac. Thanks for joining us on the set today, D-Mac. Also, we have the MVP Coach of the Year, Coach of the Century, Coach of the Decade, all the way from San Antonio, Texas. This is what number have you been coming to Omaha?
This will be number 21, sir.
Number 21. His name is Coach. What's your real name?
Mike.
Mike. Thanks for joining us on the set.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to having a conversation. I want a special edition of the College World Series Father's Day edition here in Omaha, Nebraska, down here, downtown, right outside Charles Schwab Stadium. We got a huge crowd out there.
Let's hear from the
Hey, let's
crowd.
hear
Hey,
from the
yo.
crowd. Hey,
Oh, yeah.
camera.
Live.
Thanks for joining us, guys. What we wanted to talk about today, this has been the pageantry, the passion, everything that's gone into this College World Series experience. This is I would say, the premier event that Omaha has the whole year, all year around. I mean, it's the premier event. You've been doing this for how long, Dennis? How long you been coming down to the College World Series? I know it started at Rosenblatt. Now we're downtown at the Chuck.
Yeah, we're at the Chuck. So 38 this year, man.
38 years.
Yeah.
Started at a Rosenblatt,
Rosenblatt.
and then you've been coming for how long?
Since 2004,
Which is what, 20 years?
21.
21 years coming up from San Antonio, and you guys make a weekend out of this. And basically, what we want to do today is talk about where this tradition came from. How did it start? and then the process that's been through over the last 20, 30 years to get us to where we are today. In terms of now we're at this beautiful stadium in downtown Omaha with family and friends and everybody here joining us on the set. So tell us a little bit how this got started, D-Mac, and then chime in with, what role you've played in this. I know it's a big weekend for you.
Okay, so I've been a baseball guy my whole life, and I moved to Omaha in 1982, watched the World Series, said, man, how do you get tickets? You had to get on a waiting list, even back then. And so I jumped in there, and luckily got my name in there back at Johnny at the Blatt.
The Blatt,
at the
South
Blatt.
Omaha.
Johnny's house, baby.
Shout out to South Omaha.
South Omaha, let's go. Yeah, so many, many memories there. I mean, it's way different than corporate down here. It was all neighborhoods, South Omaha, taking care of everybody, never worried about anything. It was just a blast. We get the same spot every year. People from Texas and LSU, and originally we hung out. A lot of you Omaha people might remember Dingerville.
Oh yeah,
when you went to Roosevelt back in the day, right across from Zesto, they had a little grassy knoll in there. Them LSU and Texas guys would come in there, and I was just a young kid and go up there, and they were probably doing some things that weren't legal, but their food was good and their booze was good, and they were just like family. So we meet them every year, and it was just a blast. So
So Coach is what's the relationship here?
Coach is my first cousin.
First cousin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So started going there, and I'm sitting there, and actually we were watching Notre Dame, who Coach loves Notre Dame. And me and his brother were actually at the yard that night. And we called him, maybe he had like 2 cocktails that day, and called him up and said, Coach, you got to come. This thing is so good. So that was 22 years ago when we made, 20 years ago we made the call. And then Coach made it in after 21, and I'm going to let him talk a little bit. But, I want to go back really quick. We really set this thing up after it got going as a mini family reunion from the McClintock side.
Nice.
And so we still have one of the founding 4 horsemen, I call him, and he's out here trooping it today. He's been here all 3 days. Uncle Ron is 90 years old.
Shout out to Uncle Ron, 90 years old.
Uncle Ron right there. And that's what made this thing go. Those guys, they didn't care about baseball. They just wanted to come hang out in the tent and play pinochle all day.
All in the name of a family reunion. Getting
all
the family
about the
together.
family
There's nothing
reunion,
like a
man.
family tradition.
So they come from Texas, Wisconsin, Illinois, Sioux City, Iowa, Atlanta, Georgia. So it is truly a family reunion, and it's been fun ever since. So, this thing just keeps growing, and we're working on the old guys working on phase 2 of the new guys.
Passing the torch.
Passing the torch.
It's a tough torch to pass, but eventually you're going to have to pull the trigger.
Yeah, so we did a little trial run this year, and they did wonderful.
So far, so good. Shout out to the youngins.
Yeah.
They're taking over.
Yeah, shout out to the youngsters. So, yeah.
Hey, I want to know, how did you get the name Coach? No, I didn't even know your first name.
Nobody
You
does.
don't know your first name.
Nobody does.
Where did the name Coach come from? And
I've been a coach for about 33 years. Been very blessed to do it, and happy to be called that because nobody can forget that.
where all did you coach at?
Well, I started my first coaching career in Savannah, Georgia.
Baseball?
No, basketball.
Okay.
And I was a basketball guy. So I went from Savannah, did that. Then I went to Orlando, Florida. After 2 years there, I went to Ren Lake Junior College in Southern Illinois. And when I left there, I went to the San Antonio Spurs in San Antonio.
Oh,
Texas.
you've been around the block. So tell us why, tell us about your first experience at the College World Series. I'm assuming that was at Rosenblatt, right?
That was
we
at
haven't
the
been
Blatt.
here for 20 years.
That was
yeah.
at the Blatt. It was at the grassy knoll. And one of the greatest things that I remember is, all our dads would sit underneath the tent, and as D-Mac said, play pinochle
Right.
2 straight days. You give them a hamburger and maybe a beer and a water, and they didn't bother you.
Right.
And it was the greatest thing ever. And like D-Mac said, Uncle Ron is joining us again, 90 years old. And we'll go back to Dixon, Illinois tomorrow. And hopefully, God bless, we'll be here next year.
Now, what brings you back every year? I mean, you go out of your way to make room for this. It's already on your schedule for next year. You guys will start planning for next year's College World Series family reunion, probably starting next week. What brings you back every year?
Well, the first thing that brings me back is D-Mac and his beautiful bride, Boo.
Yeah.
Who take great care of us. And we are very blessed for that. And then, over the years, I've got to know everybody here, and it's just been a blast.
Yeah.
I love every second of it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us again. And thanks for
Absolutely.
being on the podcast today. We wanted to make sure we get to Father's Day. This is our special Father's Day edition. And shout out to all the fathers out there. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today. All the dads going up and down the block here as they go into the Charles Schwab Stadium for the evening nightcap of who's playing tonight?
We got
Oregon,
Yeah.
Oregon State.
Oregon State,
and
Coastal Carolina.
Can't be Coastal. They won.
Give us your pick. Oregon State or Coastal for
Well,
tonight.
I took Coastal Carolina.
All the way?
I bet them on the money line.
You got them on the money line.
all the way?
Let's go.
All the way.
Okay.
Plus 6, 7, 5.
Hey, we got
there you
Coastal
go.
Carolina here.
Got the
Let's
shots
go.
in the house.
Shout it.
Yeah. Nice.
D-Mac,
So, hey, I want to reiterate one thing. We get a lot of people on Sunday, so we started a tradition a while back, and Coach makes the best chicken fajitas.
Hey.
I don't care about a restaurant. He's on a little grill over here, and we got people that just come here Sunday at about 3 o'clock. It's the only time we see them all year, and they know where our spot is, and they
Same
show
spot
up.
every year.
Same spot every year, and they come for the tradition of Coach's fajitas on the grill, and they're absolutely fantastic.
See, we all get to partake in the festivities, but they don't know nothing about the work that goes into getting this spot every year. Tell us a little bit about how that's evolved over the last 5 to 10 years,
Yeah.
what it takes to get a spot at the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, so Lot B is a very wanted commodity. If you want to be parking, you literally walk right across there. You walk in the stadium, right? So season ticket holders. So this thing opened up 15 years ago when I came from Roseville. I didn't know anything what we're going to do. So, I said, you know what? We just got to go down there and get in line early. Well, the gates don't open till 8.
Right.
But we get here sometimes at 4, sometimes 4:30. We're never here later
4
than about
a.m.
4 a.m. 4 hours before the gate
Yes.
opens. So we get our spot, our grassy knoll that we got to have because of all the people we get. So been doing it, love doing it. Love everybody that comes here. You see a smile on their face, and, they don't have to call me. They don't text me. They know where we're at.
They know you're going to be here.
Yep. And we say, hey, don't bring a cooler. Don't walk with food. Just show up, man. We'll take good care of you. So it's been a blessing to have, all these guys and family and friends. And, that's what makes this whole thing work. I mean, literally right across the guy, there's a guy with an ambulance. That guy came here me and him were the first 2 in line 15 years ago.
Same guy.
Same guy. Yep.
And that's the
he's
same
parked
guy
there.
that said,
Yeah,
we're
it's
going
the
to the
same-
game.
He
Come
was
and watch
like
my
20
stuff.
at that time when
Right.
he came here. So, yeah. Yep. So now he's got 3 kids, and he brings them out to the yard. And, so LSU guys all the way down the corner. Nobody takes their spot.
Right.
So, yeah, it's good.
And part of that goes to, some of these teams come here year after year. They kind of pick out their spots. They know the likelihood that their team's going to make it this far. There's no guarantees, however.
Right.
A lot of some of these SEC teams like Arkansas, LSU, Texas is not here this year. Who else is not here that typically would be here?
Alabama.
Alabama. Who else?
Oh,
How about California teams? We got UCLA,
Yeah, we do got UCLA. So
Who? Tennessee,
Tennessee.
Vandy.
Vandy.
Vandy's not here.
Vandy was number 1 in the country all year.
Got knocked off.
Yep, they got knocked off.
So 13 teams from the SEC made the regionals, 2 in the College World Series.
That's
Yep.
it, huh?
And one of them already has a loss.
Right.
And
So-
they'll probably end up eliminating each other, right? Or one of them's going to be eliminated by the other SEC teams, the way the
That's-
bracket's stacked up.
Yep,
So
agreed.
that's just the way the ball bounces sometimes, that they line up against each other in the brackets. But hey, nevertheless, we're going to have a great College World Series experience. And give me a highlight of the weekend up to this point. I know you guys are catching a flight, or at least your wife is catching a flight here in a little bit.
Yep.
What's one of the highlights of the College World Series
So
weekend?
the first 2 games of the championship series was incredible.
Yeah.
Oregon State got they won in the bottom of the 9th.
Oh,
inning
yeah.
on a
Walk off.
Walk 'em
single
off.
walk-off.
Walked it off.
So, and both games were phenomenal in the first day, and
Yep.
the second day, my bride, D-Mac's bride, we were sitting on the second row there on the third base line. It was a little cool, a little hot.
A little cool, you
a
wish.
little hot, I wish, yeah. But, yeah, it's just phenomenal baseball. And these kids are just, phenomenal.
Yeah, nothing like the Arkansas LSU matchup
Yep.
last night. This place was wall to wall all the way up
It
and
was
down the
jammed in.
the
here, man.
parking lot here. Everybody was jammed in, excited about that game. Turned out to be somewhat of a okay game to watch.
Yeah,
But,
not if you're an Arkansas fan.
right. Yeah, they came on the opposite side of that one. But yeah, give me some of the highlights from you in terms of the whole week, and not necessarily just the baseball, but having Pops here.
having Uncle Ron come,
Yeah.
One more time at 90 years old has been a great, carrying the torch for the McClintock family, and so that's really, really good. And then, having, we got these new teams in here. What a dream for these kids that are, been playing baseball their whole life, and you go to Murray State, and nobody even knows where Murray State's at, right?
I know where that's at.
Well, I know, but you've been in it your whole life, so here's a bunch of kids that the coach mows the grass on their field, and they have 800 people show up to their games at the most. So that's what it's all about. Is all about the experience. Yeah, experience, and So probably the biggest thing, because I've been doing this for a very, very long time, is working on this transition to the my nephews and my youngest son, and letting these guys carry the torch and have fun with it and find out how much work it really is.
Well, there's one thing I want to say, that both these young nephews got their start in Marcus, Iowa, and they worked on a farm, so they knew what work was, and they passed that on to their children. So they got good morals from their grandparents, and they passed it on to their children. So watch out, Omaha, because you got Dennis and his offspring, and you can't get rid of him, Butch. Okay, so now the Generian is saying over and out. Thank you.
Thanks for joining
Thank
us,
you,
Uncle Ron.
Uncle Ron.
Holy cow.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Shut it down, or you want to keep going?
We can go a little longer.
Whatever you want to do.
So I want to give a shout out to my road runners at UTSA. Had a great opportunity to get here, upset Texas. I believe they were 6-0 against them this year in midweek games, and then beat them in the regional. Had to travel to UCLA for their super regional, and just kind of ran out of pitching. But what a phenomenal story. And I think that coach has an opportunity to get a big-time job here.
He deserves it.
Yep.
Yeah, he's good.
Duke University is open right now, and I have a little affiliation with Duke. I coached a kid at my school who ended up going to Alamo Heights in high school, and he's a left-handed pitcher, throws it about 90, and they lost to Murray State in the
Game
final
3
of their
of the Super.
regional,
So, yeah.
and was hoping he would get here. Just phenomenal kid, phenomenal family, and wish they could have got here.
Yeah.
Shout out to the UTSA Roadrunners.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed that I had two kids that I coached in football who are their starting offensive linemen next year.
Right.
A kid named Ben Rios and DeAndre Marshall, who will be very good there. So,
Nice.
and it's a great program.
Nice.
Great program.
D-Mac, shout out to Boo. And
Yeah. Shout out to Boo, who Boo makes the she brings out her homemade macaroni salad, and it's the talk of the tent every year. We get new people coming in, and yesterday we had about 20 new people in there. Well, we had them in there, some in Friday, and someone said, we're coming back tomorrow. Can she make another batch of that? Because I've never had macaroni salad like that. So shout out to Boo, the chef on the homemade macaroni salad special, baby. It's awesome.
And to piggyback that, Coach, Boo sets all the stuff up for the fajitas.
Yep,
Gets
fajitas.
all the chicken, cuts all the peppers and all the onions. And she showed me a new tradition last night, by the way. She goes, my wife goes, "Are you going to cry?" She goes, "Well, I don't think so. I got a paper towel with some water on it here. I think that will stop me from doing that." And I go, "Really?" So I learned something.
There you go, Coach.
If you don't learn something every day,
You're not trying,
yeah,
baby.
exactly.
That ain't it.
Exactly.
Hey, give us a few nuggets of baseball wisdom, D-Mac, as we partake off the set here. Give us some baseball wisdom, some things you learned about the game of baseball over the years, that you've learned in baseball and maybe translates into life.
Well, I'm going to start with one basic thing when we were kids, and all the coaches out there, Joe knows, and I don't know why all these guys think they're going to hit 3-run homers to win the game.
Yeah.
If you just watch Louisville today, they played small ball. They were down 3-1, and next thing you know, there's a snowball fight going on. Next thing they're up 6-3.
Right.
It's pretty basic. It's just math and some, the situations haven't changed in 75 years. You got nobody out and you got a tying run at first base. You got a bunt them second. You got 2 chances, right? And then anything can happen. Wild pitch, whatever. These guys, then they try to steal them to get thrown out, and boom, they're either out, lose the super regional game, never get a chance. So, I know they're throwing harder and all that kind of good stuff, and that's all great. But if they just go back and just do the basics right, field it when they hit it to you. If you field it at 997, 998, and you don't walk anybody, you're going to win a lot of games.
Get the bunt down.
Right. I mean, it's just – and these guys, I don't know where this flat bat thing came in here the last 8 years. But
Through the zone, you mean?
yeah, they're holding the bat flat. Nothing's good's going to happen out of that. Right?
Coach, you know what you call that? Fundamentals.
It's called fundamentals, baby. Yeah. So, but baseball to me, and it's like other football and a lot of sports. First, you get to play with kids, and you learn. You learn to respect each other, trust each other, kind of like the military, right? But you start younger, and you do that. And if you get a good coach, most of these guys ain't going to go to the next level, right?
Right.
But they are going to have kids and teach their kids how to do the right thing, and just be good mom and dads. And I think we need to get rid of some of the stuff on social media and all. You got to be friends with your kids sometimes. Well, no, not necessarily. When they're screwing up, you don't need to be the friend. You just got to keep them on the straight, and I think that's a lot of that. But baseball is really good at that because everybody I talk to says, "Oh man, baseball is the most boring sport." I said, "No, it's not. It's because you don't understand baseball.
Right.
There's something going on every pitch.
Yep.
Somebody's got to call the pitch. Somebody's got to catch the pitch. Somebody's got to throw the pitch. Even when nobody's on base and it's 0-0 in the first inning." So to me, I'm a baseball guy. I love it because you have to think for 3.5 hours
Right.
every play. You don't get to play all if you're the head coach or the assistant coaches. So I think that's just good in life. It teaches you, hey, you got to show up to work every day. You got to be reliable. And you say you're going to be there, just put in a good day's work and respect the people around you. And that's what teammates. You got to, you'll learn how to be a great teammate. You'll be a great person in life, I think. That's me.
As we wrap up the set, give us some of your coaching wisdom. You've been in the coaching arena for quite some time. Give us some good coaching wisdom.
So I have 2 rules.
Yeah.
You show up 10 minutes early or 5 minutes late.
Okay. Is that 1 or 2?
That's 1.
Okay.
And number 2 is
say that first one again.
if you're 10 minutes early,
Yeah.
5 minutes late.
Okay. Which translates into
Be on time.
15 minutes early is on time.
Correct.
Be on time.
Across the board. Doesn't matter you showing up at work, showing up at church, showing up at home when you said you're going to be home.
Be on time.
Be on time.
Be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there.
Sounds like when you're in the batter's box. Be on time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Be on time.
exactly.
Yeah, good correlation.
Yeah.
And then secondly, and D-Mac said this earlier, you got to be a great teammate.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got kids that are way better athletes than you are, but at some point, somebody's going to have to depend on you.
And you're going to get the opportunity.
Exactly.
And the opportunity of lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of the opportunity.
There you go.
You never know when you're going to get your opportunity. You just got to be ready to go.
Exactly.
And especially at moments like this, stuff that happened in the season doesn't necessarily translate to the College World Series. I mean, the guy from Arkansas, I think he was lights out. The pitcher, Root was his name.
Yep.
Lights out, and he got knocked around in the first inning. I think
Yep.
he was out in the first, right?
It was.
Yep.
Yep.
So it doesn't necessarily translate how the season went. Doesn't mean how the College World Series is going to go. When your number's called, you got to be ready to go and be on time. So, any parting words for our guests as we wrap up the 2025 75th anniversary Father's Day edition of the Nick and Nick podcast?
Go ahead, Coach.
I just, again, thank God Uncle Ron is here.
Yeah.
I miss all my uncles and my pops and, watching them sit under that tent for a long time in this Omaha heat.
Oh, yeah.
Not like San Antonio heat,
Not
but
quite.
Omaha heat.
Omaha.
That's one thing you can guarantee. This is going to be the hottest week of the year for us.
For sure.
Every year.
For sure.
One thing we haven't had a storm, though. Usually we're good for a storm or two. Or three.
Yeah.
I need to piggyback on that storm thing.
Okay.
I'm not sure of the year here, D-Mac, but we were, this was like the second or third year we were in this parking lot here. And
About 13 years ago, I think.
okay.
12 or 13.
I took the garbage out from our, because they had trash cans right by where we were sitting there. And all of a sudden I'm walking back to the big blue bin to throw our garbage
The
away.
dumpster.
Yeah. And all of a sudden the sirens start going off for a tornado. And I just walked back to where we were parked and nobody was there. And I didn't know where they were at. And all of a sudden the wind blew,
Oh, yeah.
the lightning and everything. And the only thing I thought to do was dive under somebody's truck because I was getting hammered.
With hail or wind?
With wind and sand.
Oh,
Sand.
oh, no.
Yeah, the
Gravel?
sand blowing off the
Oh, yeah.
concrete.
I closed my eyes. I went underneath that truck. And about 5 minutes later, the truck decides to leave. And it rolled over me. I mean, it
make
didn't
this up.
actually hit me,
rolled
but it
over.
rolled over me.
You can't even make this up.
And D-Mac, they came back from the center over there where they put everybody
Chai.
Yep.
because of the tornado. And I have never been so cold in my life. I was shivering, and it was warm, then it was cold, but I was never so cold in my life. And I spent most of my life in Wisconsin, where it was very cold, but I have never been that cold in my life.
That's awesome. Good story. You'll never forget that.
I will never forget that.
D-Mac, parting comments.
Hey, if anybody hasn't come to the College World Series,
Yeah.
I don't care. It surprises me how many people live in Omaha. I've never come to the College World Series. Just come one day. Pick a day, and if you got kids, bring your kids. And if you go to the afternoon games during the week, it'll fit in your budget. Because I know sometimes they get kind of crazy, but all Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the first 3 days next week, you can get in for $40.
And when you come, stop by the Royalty Roofing and Renovations tent, and we'll give you a free cheeseburger and some kind of cold drink. So,
Yep.
hey, thanks for joining us tonight on the Royalty Roofing Nick and Nick podcast. We'll see you next time. Have a great night.
Appreciate you.
Out.